So good evening, everyone, distinguished scientists, esteemed panelists, participants, and all other invitees. It's great pleasure to welcome you all here today on behalf of Federation of Asian Biotech Association and the organizing committee to this webinar on biotech crop. Today, we gather to explore a topic of great significance, the current state of biotech crop in India. And this session will spotlight recent advancements, including key approvals and regulatory frameworks, while exploring far-reaching impact on agriculture, food securities, and sustainable farming practices. And today, we are privileged to have a distinguished panel of experts with us who will provide a new perspective on the evolving biotech landscape in India. So without further delay, let's begin the session. First, I would like to call Professor P. Redana, Executive President of FABA, to please deliver a welcome remark and address the gathering. Sir,
Thank
over to
you, Dr. Mamta. Good evening to you all. Professor Rajula Reddy, Professor Deepak Paintal, Dr. Bansal, Professor Venkateswarlu, Ram Kaundini, Changal Reddy, a number of distinguished invitees from academy, from the government, from various organizations, and also the farmers community joining to this very important webinar on biotech crops. It really gives me an immense pleasure to extend you all a warm welcome to this webinar on behalf of the Federation of Asian Biotech Associations. For the benefit of some of the members who are joining first time for FABA activities, let me give you a brief background about the Federation of Asian Biotech Association. It is a non-profit organization that we started in 2004, mainly to promote the field of biotechnology by providing a platform for the academy, industry, and government bodies to come together, network, and come up with collaborations and thus promote the field of biotechnology. So there are mainly four areas where we are focusing on. One is to promote academy-industry interactions by providing a platform for various academic institutions and industries to come together on one platform, which we are calling it as innovation clusters. And in fact, the first of that meeting was conducted in Juno Valley, and the second was conducted at University of Hyderabad. And this is going on continuously. And the second one is FABA Academy, which is mainly focusing on career guidance and skill development activities to the student community. A large number of the students who are coming out of the academic institutions, always there is a complaint that they do not have the right skills imparted for the industry. That's where the FABA Academy has stepped in and then conducting various webinars, workshops, and training programs. And the third one is FABA Entrepreneurship Division, where FABA Entrepreneurship Division is mainly to promote innovation and entrepreneurship activities and promote startup ecosystem. As part of that, we have been conducting a number of activities. Among them, the most important is the whale tank event. And also, as part of all these activities, we have initiated the BioAsia. I'm sure many of you would have attended this BioAsia, which is happening for the past 20 years. And initially, for more than a decade, FABA was involved in organizing BioAsia. Now, the government of Telangana, earlier the government of Andhra Pradesh, have stepped in and then conducting these activities, which has become a global bio-business forum. And in addition to all these three, we also have been providing a platform to discuss on issues of national importance or international importance. During COVID time, there was a major problem on supply chain challenges, In fact, we have conducted one such kind of thing, bringing all those involved in manufacture, supply, and government bodies together. And very recently, an antimicrobial resistance that has become a global pandemic, silent pandemic. And in fact, that's where we have conducted events on the invitation of the state governments. And very recently, for the Global South, G-Spark meeting was also conducted, and FABA was a party in that. And today, we have assembled here mainly to discuss one more very important topic that is at most important for India and many other countries also. That is adoption of the technologies. A large number of technologies in various fields, including agriculture, have been coming up. So, unfortunately, for the last 1 decade, we have not utilized that kind of opportunity. And as a result, we are our agricultural productivity and agricultural economy was affected. And today, the scientific community, along with the farmers community and many others, have assembled today to discuss on ways of adoption of these technologies. What are those technologies? How it will benefit the agricultural community and agricultural economy? And I am sure this meeting will come up with specific resolutions to be passed on to the public and to the government bodies and the regulatory bodies so that they take those steps accordingly. And this is the beginning of that kind of steps that we are taking, and I'm sure we need to continue this effort. With that, let me again welcome you all to this webinar, and we will proceed with the meeting as per the schedule that was given. Dr. Mamata?
Yes, sir. So thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Arjula Reddy, Chairman of ATGC Biotech, to deliver, to share his thoughts about the webinar.
Good evening to you all. Could you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. So, well, it's indeed a pleasure to see all these stalwarts of biotechnology at one place. And it's indeed a great privilege to share my thoughts, collective thoughts through this forum. My first half or so is dealing with numbers, which most of you know, but still just to refurbish the idea is between 1996, 2022, 495 crore acres have come under the biotech global area, biotech crop area, 495 crore acres, 1.7 crore farmers have benefited, almost 6.5 crore people directly. India added 28.8 million acres under biotech crops. Today, 72 countries have adopted 4 BT crops. Top 5 countries, adoption of 4 biotech crops is 90 to 100%, 100%. This is corn, soybean, canola, and one more crop. Other than that, not only these 73 countries, but there are 43 countries which are importing biotech crops, including India, products from biotech crop. I mean soybean. Soybean itself covers 40% of the global crop area, biotech GM crop. So 72 countries have issued so far approvals. Total approvals as on today is 4,485 approvals. 403 events, 29 biotech crops, commercial crops. Of these, 2,115 were food, 14 were for feed, 856, that is 856 are for environment and other product. All these are proven increase in crop productivity, conserving biodiversity indirectly, providing better and safe environment, avoiding insects, pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, nematicides, etc. also reducing carbon dioxide emission overall, and economic upliftment, 17 million farmers so far. India has 28.8 million acres under biotech crop, and that's only one crop. If we adopted other 4 crops, you could imagine what would be its impact on Indian agriculture and farmer welfare. What would have happened? We have only one crop, and we are number 5 in the world in the rankings. One crop. Imagine all our 4 major crops. We would have been number 3 or 2, or even 1. So denial of this technology has costed India quite a bit. And important thing here is biotechnology risk assessment, biotechnology crop risk assessment was viewed from the viewpoint of risk, not from the benefit. So evaluating a biotech crop or new genomic technologies crops, genome-edited crops and so on come under that flag. Now denying, looking at this biotech crop regulation through risk only itself is a great risk. What happened to the benefits side of the technology? Which one outweighs what? Take example of vaccines. Everybody knows vaccine is a double-edged sword for some time if you're not taken care of. But did we stop vaccination? Did we stop vaccine production? Vaccine was released within 8 months under pressure or whatever. Did we stop nuclear weapons? Did we stop very harmful insecticide, pesticides, which is causing a severe burden on environment? No, because benefit far outweighed the risk. When the biotechnology issue comes, we are looking at it only from the risk point of view. Therefore, the idea is risk-benefit analysis has to be relooked into. And we have great examples. We have hesitated for BT technology. We've developed it. Bangladesh is benefiting out of it. This is one example. And there are a lot of other examples too. So what I mean to say here is we have to take a relook at this technology. What would have costed to India and Indian agriculture by denying adoption of this technology at the natural speed which it designs, which it even desirable. And now the idea here is that analysis, economic loss analysis, has not been done very accurately as on today. So where are we now in India? The one crop, another crop, mustard, was cleared by GEAC 2 years ago or something. Still, it's not seen the farmer's field. Where are we missing? One missing is, it's not the farmers. We cannot blame the farmers. Farmers are really ready to adopt any revolutionary technology. And let me tell you, no revolutionary technology is risk-free. No revolutionary technology is risk-free. And no revolutionary technologies cannot be a standalone technology. It has to be supported by the government and the public. So now there are 2-3 issues which I raise. Our problem is also in the problem of communication. While there is a relentless pursuit of non-scientific arguments based on perceived, misconceived information and criticism of biotechnology for criticism's sake is going on rampantly. Whereas those of us and those people who know the benefits of biotechnology, who did all this for a long time, were silent and they're doing their lab work naturally and their scientific pursuits. In the process, misinformation is spreading faster than the actual information, point by point criticism, and so on. So I propose a mechanism, a platform like agribiotechpromotion.com or cropbiotech.com or new technologies for crop improvement.com, and then use that as a platform for a propagation into public, into scientific community, into policymakers, into sociologists, and so on. This is one way of filling this gap of communication. There is a lot of difference between, a lot of gap between the information, the misinformation is spread or half information is spread. We agree, we honor their criticism. We can also, this forum can also propose a meeting where those who look at biotechnology as a risk, those who think biotechnology is for benefit, can meet and discuss. There is no problem. Somehow the idea has to be propagated. So this is what my theme is here, because new technologies are developing very fast. Gene editing, driving, so on, so on, so on. So many things are coming. And we have gone to the extent of questioning the scientists who developed a crop through genetic means, through crossing for herbicide tolerance, through genetic crossing, nothing to do with biotech. But yet the government, the public, some people have sued them. So there are probably it's not informed properly. Information did not go through them. So, I mean, rice, take the example of rice. It is the most human intervened crop today on planet Earth. So many crosses, so many genetic approaches, so many mutation selections, so much interference with the interventions to improve the rice production on various values. Yet we are eating. Where is the problem? I mean, 70 countries have approved, and billions of acres cumulatively. 465 crore acres are under biotech crop plant. What is the damage? How many people died? Diversity, biodiversity is an evolutionary scale of biodiversity is millions of years. And most of the information on biotechnology is a perceived information, predicted information. We can do research only on biodiversity also. There are labs are doing it. There are ways of mitigating this biodiversity, risk of biotechnology in terms of biodiversity erosion. But there is no concerted effort to come out with these facts and figures. So we need a cropbiotechfact.com where we can give platform open and let's see how it will spread. It is not to condemn anybody or not to disrespect anybody, but we have to talk science-based. We have to make science-based arguments and science-based answers. Ideological answers will not do. Emotional answers will not do. So therefore, in order to strengthen our idea, we need this platform. We need some kind of a platform which will come out at the end of this. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your sharing your views and valued word. It is now privileged to invite Professor Deepak Painter, former Vice Chancellor of Delhi University, to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Hey, Deepak.
I don't know if it is going to be keynote, but I'm glad to meet all the old colleagues whom I have not met for a very long time. I was indeed very surprised when I got a phone call from Arjula. And so it's good to get some of the friends together. What can I say?
Voice band ho gaya, sir.
Can you hear me or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's clear.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, now it is clear. I think earlier it was
Is it-
muted, sir.
No, it's clear.
Is it clear?
Yeah, it is clear.
Yes.
Okay, good. What I want to bring to the attention of colleagues is how the judiciary has taken the mustard case. They took almost 2 years to give their judgment, and the judgment turned out to be a split judgment in which one of the judges has given the judgment that all the processes and procedures are seem to be okay with the release of mustard, which was done in 2022 October. And he says that we should go ahead with the release with some of the stipulated conditions of doing multi-site trials and doing some trials with honeybees and so on. On the other hand, Justice Nagaratna has given a very negative judgment, and she has said that I wrote to the minister, and I did. Right, I wrote to him when SDN1 and SDN2 were accepted by the government. I thought that was a good occasion to remind the government that there are some other technologies also which could be useful, and our mustard case is hanging. And basically it was something on honeybees, where there is so much of data and information, because this technology, the three genes that have been used are an old technology which has been used in rapeseed for the last 20 plus years without any damage to the environment, or in fact, Canada has increased yield by about 70-80% over this period of time when the hybrids were introduced. It may not be all due to heterosis. There's multiple reasons behind increase in yield, but heterosis is one of them. Now, the dilemma when we are going to respond to this, now a three-judge bench has been made, and the new Chief Justice, hopefully he will be the Chief Justice, Justice Khanna is heading that bench. And I just want to bring to your kind attention what the judges say about how they are looking at the case. And I'm going to read out from the judgment. Justice Nagaratna says, before framing the points for consideration, we make it clear that this case does not decide the competing claims made in the scientific literature about the desirability of GMOs, their impact on increasing crop yield in the short or long term, and other subjects that belong to the domain of scientific and agricultural experts. So they are not looking into the science part of it. The court is not conducting a review or an evaluation of various scientific studies submitted by the petitioners and the respondents on GMOs. This court does not have the institutional competence, and therefore any conclusion raised on that basis would be a futile exercise. So the Honorable Judge says that we cannot understand the science. That should be left to the experts. And yet if you see it, this whole technology is nothing but science. Recombinant DNA technology is science. Genetic engineered plants is all science. All the biosafety analysis is based on science. Toxicity, allergenicity, whether bees visit, what is the productivity in the field, what kind of randomized trials we should put in. This is all in the realm of science. Justice Carroll, who backed us up, also says the purpose of our adjudication is to satisfy our judicial conscience on the subject of critical public interest. We have viewed the matter from the perspective of compliances of the principles of exercise of discretion and use of administrative power in a niche area where opinions of scientists and experts in the field would determine the course of action to be taken in a matter as significant as the steps leading to the decision for environmental release of DMH11 mustard in an altered technology. Now, my question is as following. If they cannot decide on science, they're not competent, and they say that we are only going by the process. In the process, DMH11 and its parental lines were given a clearance for environmental release in 2017. in the 133rd meeting of GAC, it was clear. And then some ministerial pressure came, or some activist pressure came, and they said, go and do some honeybee and soil analysis. Now, we had already done soil analysis in one of the best labs in IMTech. We had already done bee visitation had been observed and recorded in the BRL trials. And there is no record in the last 20 odd years, either in Australia or in Canada or in the United States, that anything goes wrong with honeybees. In fact, some of the countries never did anything on honeybees. They just allowed release. Australia allowed the release without any honeybee tests. So the point I want to make to colleagues is that how do they say then that you go to the stakeholders? If learned judges cannot understand science, can a farmer understand it? Can a urban person who doesn't like the idea of GM crops, can he or she understand it? So this is like saying, bring us arguments which are dripping with fear, with unknown, with precautionary principle taken to its almost foolish limits. And the judges say, we don't understand science. So who are the stakeholders when they say government should make a policy? And how did we come so far? We made bodies like GAC, RCGM. We started a department of biotechnology. We fought with the international community to get 1 unit of ICGB in India. We opened institutions, and they say there is no policy. So what I'm trying to say is that the judiciary must be also pointed out the contradiction in what they are saying. And I hope that this will be done by the government. But the fact of the matter is that while this technology is general good technology, it is not individual choice technology. When we go to insulin produced through genetic engineering, or any drug produced through, we are taking that drug by choice. But when we come to crops, urban people today say maybe we are dying due to the food poisoning. So let's keep the harm away. So this can be only dealt with people who have some vision, who can see in the future that India needs these technologies, because at the moment they're so over-regulated that nobody even wants to get into it. This may be the only case right now which is being followed up for release in a little bit of where we are pushing it. Otherwise, people have given up. Even industry, who would like to waste their money if you are not going to see anything at the end of the day? And if people are going to say that that the activist word and your word, developers' word, have the same weightage. One is producing scientific evidence, the other one has no scientific evidence. So this is the dilemma, and this is where the things are stuck. And if you have any suggestions on how we should put it to now the 3-judge bench, I personally feel that we should go out and speak the truth. That we understand that there is there is some misgiving about this technology. The more you delay it, the more misgivings come in. For example, when a justice of the Supreme Court says, I am worried, you're not taking cautionary approach. So then what the common person in the on the street, what will they think of? They'll think of there must be something bhai. And as Arjula was saying, farmers will take up any technology which will increase their income, increase the yield. We should also be conscious of the fact that the solutions should be sustainable, but there's nothing here which has anything to harm sustainability, harm anything. In fact, if I could just take one more minute, there are 5 major problems with mustard. Alternaria blight, there is no germplasm within Brassica relatives or within Brassica juncea, which gives resistance to Alternaria. So you will have to think to bring in genes from some other plant system. Stem rot, there is no resistance available. This is a very disastrous disease for mustard. Your Orobanche root parasite can be only taken care of right now by glyphosate. And aphids, there's no solution. Somebody may be working somewhere and coming up with some very smart idea. But you can see that these 4 or 5 problems, white rust can be tackled by germplasm, because in the primary germplasm and secondary germplasm, there's a lot of germplasm available which has resistance. So you need to have a bigger recourse, or you need to have a bigger ability to tackle some of these difficult problems with our crops if we want to increase their yields and improve the sustainability of our agriculture. So that's all what I want to say. But there are contradictions which these high-flying people are not understanding. And this must be presented in some way or the other to the court. So any suggestions, I would be most grateful to receive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your views and addressing such a crucial and key points. Now, we take these key points further, and it's time to move into the crucial panel discussion, much awaited panel discussion. And now I would like to invite our esteemed moderator, Mr. Ram Kondania, former Director General of Federation of Seed Industry of India, to take over. Over
Thank
to you,
you.
sir.
Thank you very much. This is a distinguished gathering, and I'm not sure I'm really competent to conduct such a discussion, but I will try my best. And so I think the issue that we would like to address is that I think all of us are aware of the problems, what we have been facing. And there is a group of converts, converted people already. So there is really no difference of opinion here on the subject being discussed. I think it's better if we focus on finding solutions to the issues that are being faced, rather than going over the problems again and again. So I would request the panel members to focus on that. And I would like to put a little bit of structure to that. Number one is public perception is one issue, how to correct it or how to give the right public perception. Second is regulations. What is it that regulations should do, and what is the way we can contribute towards that? Third is science itself, and because this whole thing is about science. And how can we make sure that the science is actually we are using the cutting edge science, and then we are actually able to bring out the benefits on some of the key problems that are being faced. What are the key problems in the country today for which we should apply biotech? I'm not talking only of GM, I'm saying biotech in general. because I think when we talk of technologies in general, then people do get scared that we are trying to convert the whole thing into biotech crops, the whole 140 million hectares, which is not the case. So I think we will have to also be more clear about what are those specific problems for which we want to use this science and this technology. It could be GM, it could be gene editing or whatever. Then the next is, what is the type of public policy that we need and how can we contribute towards that as a group? I would like to just say that this is what I could think of, and please feel free to add more aspects to this dialogue. But I would like that we focus on the solution rather than on the problem. I know that it's very difficult because there are people who are ideologically opposed to the technologies. Those who are opposed to GM will also be opposed to SDN3 very clearly. So gene editing itself will run into problems in future if we don't address this. And if we don't address this particular case in the Supreme Court today, this will be more or less a major setback to development of technologies in the country. I think we'll have to also understand the gravity of the situation. So what is it that we should do? Like Dr. Pental also asked that what can we do in the court? So keeping these things in mind, I would like to start, and then maybe we will. I'll request Dr. Anandakumar to start, and then we'll go to the others.
Thank you, Dr. Kaundinya garu. I just would like to flag a few points. Professor Ajula Reddy garu and Professor Deepak Pental have given sufficient background about the past 30 years of GM research, technology, and commercialization. And the first point is, I am sure we all know about it. GM crops, GM crop products, foods, feeds, fibers, and oils have been around for 30 years. And Professor Ajula Reddy garu has given us the number of countries that cultivate GM crops and the number of countries that import GM foods derived thereof. So that itself is a very, very simple common sense point of view that there is a safe history of consumption of GM crops and foods thereof or feeds thereof for 30 years. There is absolutely no second opinion about that. Similarly, since 1995, we have been consuming continuously, of course, not necessarily in India, in North America and other countries, soybean and maize. So much so, you have in every restaurant, in every hotel, and in every eatery, whatever you consume, any kind of corn-made product, whether it is in a Mexican restaurant or whatever, the oils that are used are made from soybean and maize. In fact, it would not be out of place if I say that the people who oppose GM technology in India, right from the number 1 to the lowest level of common citizens who go abroad to meet their friends, relatives, children, grandchildren, invariably consume GM corn made products. I'm sure their children or grandchildren would take them to a nearby Mexican restaurant and feed them with a very, very tasty burrito or nacho macho, whatever. And the same people, men or women, when they come back to India, they become staunch, stubborn, and trenchant critics of GM. Can any one of them deny this? Absolutely not. No one can deny this. And the other point is third world countries like Nigeria, Kenya, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Bangladesh have commercialized GM crops in the past few years. Nigeria, in addition to growing BT cowpea, now cultivates maize. Similarly, very few months back, Ghana has approved commercial cultivation of BT cowpea. Third world countries. Can't we learn lessons from our third world developing countries' brethren, the way they are going and the way we are going back in a reverse direction? These are some of the points actually the concerned people should bring to the attention of the honorable judges in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court asks us to make a policy for GMOs or GM crops. Since 1993, when I have come back from Germany after a stint of Humboldt Fellowship and joining Biotech Center IARI, I have attended, I have participated, I have seen scores and scores and scores of workshops, conferences, symposia, brainstorming sessions, RCGM meetings, GGAC meetings, expert committee meetings, where the policy has been discussed threadbare. What else new you are supposed to develop in a novel direction? A new policy other than what we have formulated, enunciated in the past 2 or 3 decades? This is another thing we should tell the Supreme Court. We are not doing anything de novo or afresh. This is a result of threadbare discussions in the past 20 or 30 years. The other thing is, I would like to appeal to some of the like-minded people, my erstwhile colleagues, my friends who have retired from government service, to have a forum to drive home the point that the government of India should take GM crops out of the ambit of regulation, absolutely out of regulation, based on 30 years of safe cultivation and consumption. At least it should be made applicable to 25 crop events or multiple events in 25 crops that are being cultivated elsewhere outside India. Enormous amount of biosafety data, environmental safety data have been generated for those events in those crop species. So why can't we request, persuade, cajole, or force the government to take GM crops of this nature outside regulation? There should be a forum, platform, especially from retired scientists, retired members of committees in DBT or GEAC or whatever, and they can stick their neck out. While in service, you all know why people are hesitant why people do diplomatic acrobatics, gymnastics to speak the truth. But at least those people who came out of government service, retired people, should take up these cudgels and make this platform and educate the people right from, let us say, vernacular languages to Hindi, English, and so on, different media. Now we have very, very powerful social media, online media, and convince the common man and also the topmost bosses in government of India who really matter, including legal system, to look at this point objectively, judiciously, and with logic and rationality. Another thing, another point in support of my contention is, we all know for the past 7, 8 or more than 7, 8 years, there is a rampant cultivation of BT, HT cotton all over the country. Gujarat, Rajasthan to Tamil Nadu. And some reports say 50 to 60% of Indian cotton, GM cotton, is illegal. GM, HT, BT cotton. And GEAC was also in the knowledge that a couple of events of brinjal have infiltrated, percolated from Bangladesh to India, and if not very extensively, I am sure BT brinjal is under cultivation in many, many states. Have there been any mortalities, any adverse effects on health in any population or sections of population? This is something we should try to bring to the attention of the courts and also the policymakers and the topmost scientific regulatory bodies in the country. I think these are the 2 or 3 points I thought little out of the box thinking. Some people may disagree with that, whatever it is, but let us at least give an inducing thoughts to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Anandakumar. I think so far we have got some suggestions. One is that scientific communication, science communication to the general public and to legislators, to judiciary and multiple stakeholders. Dr. Arjula Reddy also suggested that we have a platform for this purpose, and Dr. Anand Kumar is also suggesting the same. So that is one area that has come as a good suggestion, a solid suggestion from our discussion. And of course, what is to be communicated? I think both of you have said quite a lot of points. I think that can be brought out. The second thing Dr. Pentel said is also that what is to be done in the Supreme Court. I think that is also something on which there needs to be some clarity that in what way this group, suppose there is a group, can this group play some role? And in Supreme Court, there are 2 points. One is the mustard case. Second is the policy on GM crops. I think if there is a public consultation, which the government is bound to do because of the Supreme Court order, I think we have to make sure that it doesn't end up like a farce, which happened with BT brinjal. So we'll have to make sure that scientists participate in it and then make sure that the scientific opinions and then not only opinions, facts are put in place in front of the public consultation part. So keeping that in mind, I would like to go to the next panelist because we are talking of communication and public outreach. Let me ask Dr. Vibha Ahuja. Dr. Vibha Ahuja, you are there? Hello.
But she is also traveling to US from tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Then we will proceed further. And then let's go to Dr. K.C. Bansal. Dr. Bansal, you are there?
Yes, I'm there.
Yeah, Dr. Bansal. So your
Yeah,
opinions,
you.
your points on this.
Thank you very much. As you all know, probably that I'm, already there, trying to do what are the best we can for this particular case, as Professor Deepak Pental just mentioned. But in my intervention at the moment, I would like to give my points for, I call it as strengthening our GM portfolio, GM research, or reviving, the whole kind of strategy of GM crop development. And we need to do anything and everything to revive and strengthen, lest we, miss the bus. So I must thank you, of course, Dr. Reddenna first, to give me this opportunity and to organize this, and Professor Arjula Reddy, and all others, those who are there for the organizer's point of view. So in fact, what I would like to still remind our friends that GM crop strategies, technologies will always remain important for crop improvement. And very rightly, as mentioned, by Professor Deepak Pental, in some of the crop traits, we don't have germplasm resources available. So conventional breeding is out of question. He mentioned about mustard. There are other crops as well, including, of course, cotton. We have currently BT cotton in progress, as you all know, in our country. Many other examples of such crops and traits where we have to resort to, not even, for example, gene editing, we have to resort to GM technology. So therefore, we must make all efforts, whatever we can, to strengthen and revive it in our country. So I call it that way. And second, with regard to biosafety, everything we're talking about it, people are concerned about biosafety, and so are we as scientists. And that's what, in fact, at times, Dr. Deepak Pental reminds us that we were only the scientists, really speaking, who brought in regulation, not anyone else. We were not really speaking, given any kind of a top order from politicians or otherwise, the policymakers that we should go for it. We scientists alone, all know Wahlberg's, Ashley Moore conference, and, all that we came into this kind of a game plan of biosafety regulation, which I believe is very important. We must continue with it, actually speaking. But the only thing is, it must be very, very efficient. And I will come to that point as well in a minute. And therefore, with regard to the biosafety, previous speakers have also reminded us for the last about 25, 28 years, 30 years, 4,400 risk assessment studies have been carried out. All those countries, more than 70 countries, those who are really consuming, cultivating, using crops almost in their daily food or, feed. So, and in India, again, of course, more than 200 million hectares globally, as Professor Arjula already mentioned. And also BT cotton, 95% adoption in India. We have seen the advantage. It's a big success story. I read all the time in the newspaper against it, but nevertheless, we all know it more scientifically speaking that there's a big success story. The whole world is talking about it when we talk of BT cotton in India. So I don't have to go into the details of it. So therefore, my first action point, so I'm going to suggest with this little background, 5 action points, to really speaking, revive or strengthen and to still cultivate the benefits of GM technology, keeping in mind, as was just mentioned about other countries, including even China, those who have right from October 2023, they've increased their kind of release, environmental release of some of the GM crops, the varieties running into hundreds. So my action point, therefore, would be, first of all, that we must try to impress upon Government of India, and here particularly I'm talking of Ministry of Environment and Forest, to release all those pending events of crops which are there. As per the procedure, of course, I don't want to cut short any kind of procedure which is already in place. We must respect it, But the point is, they're all about, to my knowledge, 16 crops, even could be more, and more than 80 events which are in the regulatory pipeline. So can we start with, even for example, HTBD cotton, can we commercialize it legally? So idea is, can we make this regulation release of environment release more efficient? And this action point is for Minister of Environment, particularly GAC. Second action point is with regard to how do we deal with a lot of activists talking against GM, anti-GM lobby. And here my really speaking message is, we should leave them alone. Let's not do anything. Let's not try to educate them. Let's not try to say anything to them. Any kind of rebuttal is not required, according to me. But what is therefore required? we must try to increase still awareness. It's very important to college students, to school students, to university level students, to the society, public at large. We must try to arrange public lectures. So we must try to effectively communicate the science behind GM crops the way it is, nationally, internationally. And here, therefore, I suggest the second point, it should be done primarily by Government of India. So therefore, second point is also for Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, ICAR, ICMR, all the FSSAI and others, those who are really promoting biotechnology in our country. Professor Deepak Pental reminded us that we have got everything in place, so Government of India is promoting it. So the second action point is for all these people and for all these agencies to organize lectures by experts, and try to educate the public at large and increase the public perception, enhance the public perception. Then only we will be able to send a positive message, about the technology. The third action point is, which I'm suggesting here, a collective action by all science academies in the country. All science academies in the country, we are all scientists. We must respect the science, not only for GM crops, I'm talking about it in general. Science, leads to growth and development of any nation for that matter. Particularly agriculture, it gives us even more, kind of return over the money which we invest, in general. But of course, GM crop, we were talking about this technology. So a collective action by these science academies, again, to prepare the educational material, and distribute it, in simple language, because they have all the best scientists of the country as members of these academies. With all facts and figures, they should prepare that kind of material, and they must try to also organize press conferences on a regular basis, periodically, to make people aware. That's one of the agenda. So in a way, they're supporting the government. But this is the third action point I'm suggesting for the science academies. But also, science academies must do one more action, which I'm suggesting here, is to do some kind of a socio-economic analysis in the country, which has been unfortunately never done. We are really being lagging behind. We have no words to say anything about disadvantage, even to BT cotton. Others have done it from outside India. And I've been talking about to our own agricultural economists in our own National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. So these academies must do that kind of analysis as well. My fourth action point is we must try to activate NGOs, those who are otherwise vocal, those who are otherwise, science driven, those who believe in science, and farmers group, farmers organization, for them to help educate the village level workers and women farmers more, of that level people, in their local language, through newspapers, through publications, through organizing some local level meetings at the panchayat level, whatever the best they can, So we must try to, we have to, as group, kind of play that big role. And the last action point, which I'm suggesting here, is that is for press and media. Press and media at times have seen, and in fact, I've seen many of these, our own organizations, I must tell you, when you talk of all those publication houses where we contribute some of those articles, they are doing good job in communicating what they think science to the society, but they're doing more kind of a job for themselves, not for the country as a whole. And why I'm saying so, because if I'm invited to write an article, you will find another article against it. So they want, okay, that we have taken both the sides, but they don't know the other side will always remain the other side. We have to talk about science in favorable manner. We don't say that we should be favored. We should talk about the facts of science supporting the GM crops. So we must try to organize, or in fact, sensitize press and media. And again, by, science experts and biotechnology experts organizing these press conferences. And this time talking about it, really speaking, press conferences by research institutions. Those who are engaged in research institutions, they come up with new ideas, innovative ideas. The whole world is talking about, international press is full of all this. We don't have those writers here in India for that matter. So can we ourselves as science experts, those who are doing, science in our best institutions, could be any institution for that matter, government or mostly, of course, government or private funded, to organize these conferences, to talk about what are the latest advancements they have made, and still making people understand science in a very simple language. So because we have not done that, what I thought in the last, so many years, all these 4 or 5 action points which I've given, and therefore we are at the stage we are at the moment. Therefore, our honorable judges are not really able to comprehend what kind of science we are talking about it. And therefore, the other people, the petitioners, are able to really speaking mislead, not only the honorable judges, the whole people around them, because they are more active and we are not. So I think this is what my...
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bansal. I think these are all excellent points.
Thank you.
I think what comes out is that there has to be an effort by a group of us, and this group has to be formed, and this group can undertake all these activities that we have talked about. A scientific group which can continuously keep communicating with multiple stakeholders, with government, with multiple ministries, with public and various others. And science must stand up in support of technologies. Otherwise, we are wasting a lot of time and money in. And we all know that Indian farmer wants modern technologies. He wants access to solutions. And but unfortunately, there is no unified voice of the Indian farmer. And some of those farmers organizations which actually come out into the media are not necessarily representing the voice of all the farmers. There could be multiple, unfortunately, there is a lot of politicization of farmers organizations also. So let me go to the farmer then.
Thank you, Ram. Yeah.
Thank you. Changaleddy Garu. So your opinions and your recommendations, more of recommendatory nature, because we would like to capture from this discussion further how to go forward, right? You are on mute, sir. Please unmute.
Hello, everyone. Really good to see you all. This is Vilu here. Can you hear me?
Oh. Vilu, I think Mr. Changaleddy will speak. After that, Vilu.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Is it?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Please. Changaleddy Garu.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. There is not much to discuss. I am not, I have pleaded in the Supreme Court case way back in 2007 onwards. I have been working and we're trying to do. So as far as farmers, there are two things here. One is the Supreme Court case. I think we need to take up some action immediately, some sort of because otherwise there is no time. If this mustard case is not immediately released, approved by Government of India, I don't think in near future any other technologies will come. Whatever money given by government ministries and all that, whatever the ICR research, other things, they will all be closed. As of now, most of it is closed, and nobody knows what is the amounts given to biotech research in the last 10-15 years, and the results hasn't come forth, and nobody is bothered. The people who gave money and people who are doing research, everybody is keeping in their shell. Now, therefore, the scientific community, one thing I found extremely disturbing in agriculture scientific community is, if I have seen the economists, I have seen doctors, lawyers, advocates, everybody is getting organized. But the most distressing thing is this agriculture scientific community is not unified. I don't know why and what, but it is something which every one of you have to look into your hearts and souls. It's not doing naukaris or not doing jobs. It is very disgusting because I have seen how the medical faculty, how medical industry, doctors have fought during the COVID. How is that you agriculture scientists haven't fought for farmers? You are there working for the sake of farmers, but I haven't seen any agriculture scientists really coming out. I'm sorry to say that there's nothing individual. I understand your problems. That's why I have been trying to motivate, to get in touch with you. So my request, as already suggested by a number of you, yes, firstly, can we form a group? If so, how do we go about? I request Dr. Arjul Reddy and others to take it forward. The second thing is probably Mr. Kaundinya can do, because you see, the seed companies, pesticides have been benefited hugely in the last 20 years. But none of these chaps have come forward to do anything, either by giving some resources or organizing. How is that? Why is that they indirectly did not ask the farmers to file a case in Supreme Court? I mean, they have made tons and tons of money. See, look, let me tell you why I am angry. In 2002, myself and Sarah Joshi are the people who fought in GAC to get this approval of genetic engineering committee. And then, of course, all the business fellows came. They made tons of money, and none of them have ever bothered. So therefore, the question is, whether is there any possibility? Yeah, question is, yeah, probably if they can, I will be very happy. And lastly, my suggestion is one more thing. Can this committee formulate a common agenda, common draft, and let's all sign it? Let us say put a time limit of 30 days. Let's say, see, now I know that there are about 2 lakhs genetic students across India. We have all contacts. Most of your colleagues or subordinates or juniors are working in universities and jobs, etc., etc. Why not mobilize about 5 to 10 lakhs farmers' signatures, about 2-3 lakhs of your student signatures, and thousands of your scientist signatures, and send it to make it public. Let us inform the Supreme Court. See, we are all very delicately handling the Supreme Court. The constitutional institutions in India, as useless as politicians or administration, judiciary is no better. Because this lady, whoever gave this judgment, I wanted to ask her whether any of her children are there in America. If so, how is that they have been eating genetic food for the last 25 years and then surviving without any cancer or obesity or brain damage? I mean, these people sitting in ivory tower, some of these judicial people, I'm an advocate, I know how the functioning of judiciary. These people have absolutely no sense. The Supreme Court has destroyed the Indian farming community's development in the last 25 years single-handedly by preventing genetic technology. They don't understand because you see, they all live in ivory towers and our voice probably can't be heard to them. So my suggestion is to this committee, Augustus committee, all of you are sitting there. Let us prepare a draft. Don't take time, go on discussing and analyzing. There is nothing for you and me to analyze. Because if the Supreme Court says, put a block, we are all finished. We can go home and then do whatever other than agriculture or some of you may have jobs for some time. Once you're retired, you can happily end up somewhere. But the question is, we farmers are the real sufferers. This damn country has been importing genetic food. For last 22 years, we have been eating genetic food. Cottonseed edible oil. And from 2007, we have been importing genetic edible oils from Brazil, Argentina, America, and Canada. And there is no shame on the part of this government. What is government? These politicians and administration, they have no why. I mean, they are faceless fellows. But it is we farmers who have suffering. I have circulated a note to everyone that the productivity in this country stagnated in the last 30 years. The maize productivity in Brazil, Argentina, and America is almost 12,000 kilos, and we are stopped at 6,000 kilos. And cotton, Chinese have achieved 2,000 kilos average. We are stalled at 450 kilos. What a shame this country. And everybody says they want to become globally powerful. I only wish we farmers stop cultivating for 10-20% of our land so that the whole country and everyone will understand the anger of the farmer. So my suggestion is this. My suggestion may be whatever you do, other things. But my request is that if in 1 week time, all of you sit together, draft a letter, explain very detailed explanation is required. You have to tell your scientific community has to tell that nobody has any business to interfere with you. You are the authors. Dr. Deepak Pental is a retired, he was a vice chancellor, one of the world's leading scientists, and some stupid judge or some lawyers there in NGOs go and tell him that science technology is bad. If I say that your judgment is stupid, what will the Supreme Court judge says? Now, these are all double standards in this country. Do you know, most of you should know that this Indian judiciary, these two fellows adopt American Supreme Court judgments. But why is that we are not adopting American agriculture technologies in India? They don't. You want defense equipment from America. You want your mobiles, you want your cars, you want your every damn thing from America, Japan, and Germany. But when it comes to agriculture, all sorts of stupid and idiotic things are being placed. And unfortunately, the misery of this country is the so-called farmers, even though they are millions and trillion, they are bloody voiceless. Because I'll tell you, as somebody was telling, our farmers have been hijacked by the so-called lousy political farmers. These rogues, you see what happens. If they are in politics, they say, if they are in ruling, they say good. If they are in opposition, they say bad. Now, unfortunately, we farmers, we have no independent voice. So my suggestion is this, that prepare a common this thing. And then lastly, one more thing I want to ask all of you scientists. Why not each one of you contribute some money, implead yourself in Supreme Court as a scientific community? Tell the Supreme Court judges that they have no business to interfere in your agricultural technology. You are the bosses. You are the people who have right to tell that you should assert yourself. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not that I'm this thing. I have tried all these years. I have I have been an activist. I mean, something has, anyway, I only hope that I am very thankful to some of my friends who have initiated this. And let's continue. Thank you.
Dr. Ram, you're there?
I think no.
I think no. Professor Arjula will take over, I feel.
Maybe right.
Arjula, sir, will you take over?
Ask the rest of the people to go ahead, sir.
Yes. Sir, you please unmute yourself.
I think Mamata, you go
Mamata,
with
you can take care.
as per the program that was given.
That will be good.
Who is
You have
next?
the list. You have the list with you. Just go on in the same sequence.
Sure.
Yeah. That's good.
So
Go
now
ahead.
we can call Professor N.K. Singh. If Professor N.K. Singh is there.
He is not there.
Okay. May I call Professor Attipalli Reddy, sir, and he will take over also as a moderator. Professor Attipalli Reddy, sir.
Yeah, I'm here, but
Sir, I'll give you the list just now.
okay.
Sir, you are also a panelist, so please start.
Let's go ahead with other people.
Yes.
Yeah. Who are others?
Dr. Satyendra Kumar. He's a
Is there?
scientist from Indian Council of Agriculture Research, Indian Institute of Research, IIRR.
Yes, he's
Or is
there.
there Dr.
He joined.
No, he is already joined. Satyendra, you are there, na?
Yes, sir. I am very much there, sir.
We are not seeing you.
Yeah. I think
We also have Dr. Ramasundram.
Yeah. Satyendra is now.
Good afternoon, Bansal sir.
Satyendra, बोलिए अपना opinion दीजिए.
Okay, so good evening, all the experts and Professor Bansal, Dr. Anand Kumar. This panel discussion is more educative panel discussion for me because I think most of the points that I wanted to tell have been covered. And specifically, I am very much in alignment with the suggestions made by Professor Bansal that it's very important to look at the things what we can fix at the base level. And taking this discussion from GM to genome editing, because what I understand that it is more of biotech crops. So I would like to just give a brief of what in genome editing field we are doing at in the Institute of Rice Research and also in India where we stand. So right now we have got 3 events which have been exempted by IBSC and RCGM, and at least these 2, one from IERI New Delhi, developed by Dr. Vishwanathan. It's a SDN1 genome editing event, which is now in active trials, and it is in the 2nd year of testing. And at the same time, the genome editing line developed at Indian Institute of Rice Research also. It is in the 2nd year of testing, and we are hopeful that this would be one such biotech product which will be probably made available to farmers at the earliest by next season. But what is important for us to understand, and before that, now recently I got to know that Dr. Naveen Mist's line also it has been exempted by RCGM. So soon it will also enter to a CRIP trial, and the line is for low glucosinolate content. So this is what, as far as genome editing is concerned, I would say that the policies have been quite favorable, at least for SDN1 and SDN2 genome editing, and not only the policies, but also the funding support has been good from ICAR and also from DBT. But genome editing has its own limitation. It's not the silver bullet that my director, Dr. R. M. Sundaram, also says, and I completely agree that there are quite a number of problems for which we do not have solutions that can be addressed through genome editing. For example, insect resistance, not only in rice, but in several other crops, we do not have very good candidate genes, and we need to look for the genes cross kingdom or the cross species. And it's necessary for researchers and also for policymakers that we will have to knock the doors of the GM if we need to find long-standing solutions for these problems. Genome editing cannot, it's one tool, but then it has to be complemented and supplemented with the GM for several of those problems. And of course, for genome editing, there are a few more challenges that we have been discussing, and all of us know the biggest challenge is IPR, and all these technologies which are now under protection, and the foundational patents are with the two institutes, Broad Institute and UC Davis. So it is also important for Indian researchers to develop indigenous tools, and those tools can be made available to researchers in India. But coming back to, this is all about the genome editing, but then certainly we need to popularize and also convince the policymakers different ways. I do not know, it may look childish, but then probably making small videos, the kind of stories in a very easy language, and which is not too much scientific, but then good for students, like Dr. Bansal suggested. It's like we need to work at grassroots level. So probably we can display those videos in schools, and also demonstrating to farmers. That is one thing that we have done on genome editing, that we have been bringing farmers, and they have seen all the genome editing technologies, and they are very much excited. So they speak more than what we speak. So these are my few suggestions, but then, as I said, it's more educative webinar for me than giving my suggestions. And in fact, I am learning from all my seniors. So thank you very much.
So let us all congratulate Dr. Satyendra for coming up with the genome-edited crop and putting it on the field.
Thank you, sir.
Next, Professor B. Venkateswarlu is there.
Yeah, I'm there.
From Agri Biotech.
Yeah, actually, I just want to have 2 points. Number one is that if you see what transpired in Supreme Court, Madam Nagaratna Justice said that, in the course of the arguments, that, she said that although she does not know the science part, as Dr. Pentel said, but she did read about the, public perception, there is some environmental effects, there is a loss of biodiversity, all that she learned, and she said all that that means how she has understood this, because when she was in Bangalore, before moving to Supreme Court, she was reading the local newspapers, whether Hindu or Deccan Herald, whatever papers, for over years. And all these newspapers, you find many times the articles which are, pro sort of, environment, and without really giving the other side of the benefit of this. And one lady, one Asha Kuruganti, who is very often, campaigns for this anti-GM, she herself singularly wrote 1,000 articles in the last 15 years in all the leading newspapers of India. Recently, somebody told me the statistics, from Indian Express to Times of India to India Today, down to everywhere, almost regularly. Now, such a barrage of information, obviously it will go into the minds of judges also, it will go into the minds of bureaucrats also, it will go into the minds of parliamentarians also. So that is where we are. It's a rather an unequal, unequal fight. We are not really communicating at all. Not only we are not communicating the right thing, but our communication is zero, I would say. How many of us have actually written in a very simple language which an ordinary reader can understand in a leading newspaper, be it in North India or South India, that, what are the plus and minuses and why whole world is adopting and what are the benefits that have already accrued to our farmers in India. None of us, because we conduct meetings, we bring proceedings, then we go away. I think this won't be enough, So strong public opinion has to be created. And for that, we have to make some concerted efforts. This committee will do, or, we have to have some professional writer, whatever it is. That is very important, including judges. Judges are also part of society, They also have their opinion, make their opinion based on what is happening in the society, what is being written and all. This is one point. The second point is the biggest weapon would be the farmers themselves. You see how the farmer law have been taken back by a very strong person like Modi in just 6 months. Why? What is the pressure? What is the power of farmers, opinion and their agitation? Farmers in just 3 states, Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP, they just, so that type of pressure, that type of farmers themselves demand. Then I tell you, neither bureaucrats nor politicians, even judges, will be forced to then see what is really good in this. Why farmers are asking? Then otherwise now everybody is taking lightly. They are just going by what is being written in the newspapers and all that. So I think what Dr. Changal Reddy has been, he's in one-man army. Last 20 years he has been struggling. He is spending his own money, intervening in the Supreme Court, intervening in High Courts. But there are so many other farmers organizations. There are many leaders. Why they are not really coming forth? Because I was a chairman of the Cotton Institute as a QRT. And when we had a consultation in Nagpur, many farmers are saying, sir, we have no complaint with this technology. But on the other hand, in newspapers, people write, BT has failed cotton and cotton yield is going down. In fact, the cotton yield is going down mainly because of climate. A lot of unseasonal rains, excess rains, more of, not even non-BT's yields are going down because the climate, this distinction, nobody is explaining them. So people say that BT has failed, therefore cotton yields are going down. Pink bollworm is increasing because of, no farmer mentioned this. So farmer, in fact, wants a solution to pink bollworm from GM. Not that they are criticizing the GM, because of GM, there is a more pink bollworm. So these are all the intricacies, and I think the most powerful weapon from our side could be creating a very strong public opinion by whatever means. I think this committee can sit down and decide, and then of course, formally intervening in the Supreme Court and putting our argument, that is secondary. But ultimately, this has to be done. At least if you start doing now, in another 5-6 years, we will at least make an impact on the society as a whole. Unless we do that in any amount of academic seminars, will not really help. Thank you.
Dr. Sundaram? Yeah, can you go ahead?
Yeah. Sir, sorry for joining late because there was another meeting which was going on. There are a few points which I would like to submit, sir. As a young scientist, Dr. S.R. Rao is also here. He was kind enough to support a big program on golden rice. And most part of my early stage career was involved in that particular work. And what has actually happened is, because of this dismal situation with regard to governmental policies related to development and release of GM crops, many of us have lost interest in this particular field. And because of this particular reason, a lot of youngsters have left this particular field and going towards more lucrative or more opportunities to work on, like, say, molecular breeding or working on genomics. At the end of the day, because of these policies, we have lost a good human resource which was there at least till 2010-11. And it's a very dismal situation. But fortunately, our institute did not lose hope. Dr. Satyendra continued working on various aspects related to genetically modified crops. And if you look into the reasons why this has happened, I agree with the contention of Mr. Chengal Reddy, we scientists are also partly or wholly responsible for this particular situation. We need to communicate unequivocally about what is our opinion about GM crops. Most of the times, even our seniors or elders, we are all like talking like a cat on the wall, like sort of thing. In one forum, we'll appreciate the developments related to genetically modified crops. In another forum, yeah, we should be cautiously what we convey is we generally tell that, yeah, there are safety issues. And in this regard, even some of our great leaders are no exception. And we should not communicate in that way. And what we should communicate to the general public is, yes, there are some issues and we are addressing them. And these are all the tests what we have done. And we are now convinced. And we should talk to the general public in a single voice. This is very, very important. And what is also equally important is that if not today, in the near future, probably our gene-edited crops may serve as a Trojan horse for introduction of GM crops. Because what I am finding is that there's a lot of public trust with regard to gene-edited crops. And of course, as Dr. Satinder mentioned, it's not a silver bullet or a one-stop solution for manipulation of multiple traits. There are several traits which you can either manipulate through the application of molecular markers or deploying host plant resistance, and also through gene editing. We need to consider what are options that are available holistically. But what I would mention here is we should start writing columns in newspapers which are perceived to be anti-GMOs or say anti-GM initiatives. For example, when Dr. Satyendra started his work on development of gene-edited crops, we made it an effort to call all the stakeholders, including newspaper reporters from Indian Express, then Hindu, explain them the process, and we involved them at each and every stage. When the crop was ready in the when the lines were ready in the lab, when we took them to our transgenic screeners, thanks to Dr. S.R. Rao's help, we now have got a very good transgenic screeners which can support screening of transgenic and then gene-edited crops under near natural conditions. We could take the lines, show them to all the press, particularly the local vernacular press, and they were convinced. We also showed our gene-edited lines to all the both positive and negative press, and we got very good this thing, because they were kind enough even to, after interviewing us, they were even kind enough to allow us to edit what they are going to convey. And as a result of which, we got 3 positive articles on in the newspapers like Hindu, one in Indian Express, and several in vernacular press. As a result of which, what I would say is that there is a positive opinion among farmers. Let's use that goodwill generated by gene-edited crops to take forward our efforts with regard to genetically modified crops, wherein it's more of a conventional genetic modification. And this is proper communication is very, very important. And as far as I am concerned, I clearly, like, so whenever I meet the press, I clearly say them that we should not discount or we should not just allow genetic modification technologies, including GM crops. We should not discount them completely. They are an option. I clearly explain it to them that problems like, say, insect pest resistance, for example, stem borer problem in rice, there is no genetic resistance and there is no possibility of improvement through gene editing. The only way for us to do is through genetic engineering. And I'm also trying to convince them that solutions are there, not just from private sector. We also have some good lines from public sector also. And we are all trying our best to do it. but proper communication to the general public and writing regular columns in some of the newspapers and magazines will really help. So one simple thing what I would suggest is that let's create some base documents or base papers related to GM crops with clear-cut data about demonstrating their unequivocal safety or biosafety, and communicate this information very crisply to the general public, particularly in the vernacular press. That's what I would strongly recommend. And we are all in the learning process, the learning curve. We now know who are all our enemies and who are all our friends. Let's try to take those who are on the side of GM crops and then take the whole technology forward and try to minimize the damage that has been caused by so-called anti-GMO group. They need to be counted, and we'll try our best to do it, sir. And another important thing, what I would like to mention here is that because of the lull, what we witnessed from 2008, 9 or 10 onwards, there is a lot of lack of trained manpower in terms of development and evaluation of GM crops. And particularly, we need some additional support from the government to strengthen the infrastructure, particularly with regard to basic research that is essentially required for sustaining our work related to development and evaluation of GM crops. And I'm also a little bit concerned because institutions like Nabi Mohali was originally created to conduct biosafety and other related tests which were required for to support the data that GM crops are safe. Probably they have gone away from their mandate, and whatever by food and feed safety trials are to be conducted, if a government organization does it, people will trust the data. And I would say that we should not ignore this technology, that is GM technology, as one of the options, and we should still continue working in it and try our best to convince the general public. If, say, 100 farmers are convinced, then we can also convince the policy makers also. And I also make it a point, whenever a bureaucrat, technocrat, or a politician comes to IRR, we also have a demonstration of our work, whatever we did it. As for example, with Dr. Bansal, we developed drought and salinity tolerant Dreb 1A transgenic lines. We still have them, and we have in our transgenic greenhouse under near natural conditions. Whenever a politician or somebody comes, in addition to demonstrating our gene-edited lines of Samba Masuri, we are also demonstrating the potential of our genetically modified rice lines also. So publicity and tapping our friends in the printed public media is very, very essential. And we are trying to do our little bit in this regard. And we should have a set of documents, at least 10, 15 articles, and every week one of us should communicate it to the public. I see a lot of anti-GMO articles coming in editorials or center page of many of the reputed newspapers or so-called reputed newspapers, but none supporting them. And this has to this thing, and then even I am also responsible for this particular dismal situation. And if required, I can draft 1 or 2 articles telling about the clear, like say, advantages of technologies like golden rice, which Dr. SRA has been associated, and also about the other technologies related to GM rice like BT rice or any other technologies. And I'm ready to communicate it. Let's all work together to make the communication process more stronger and then more robust. These are words of which I would like to share along with you. Sorry for not participating in this event from the beginning.
Okay. Thank you, Sundaram. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have Dr. Vibha Ahuja?
No.
This is not there, sir.
How about Dr. Siva Reddy?
Not there either.
So Dr. S.R. Rao Garu?
Yes.
Okay.
So thanks.
For the key person. Yeah.
Thanks for all the comments. You made my life easier. But actually, I have some. I've been working since I got this message. It's because it's not a simple journey. It's a 2 decades of painful journey. Why I am saying painful is all these things which have been said so far have been said many times. Now I think I vote Chengal Reddy Saab. The reason is that it is an emergency now. We have to see that the court gets correct message. I tell you, I have been counting because I was there for almost 18 years of this battle, going to Supreme Court, either with Deepak Paintal or earlier with others. It's a 15-year-old, 2-decade-old case. 18 Supreme Court judges have changed, and 8 attorneys from Government of India also participated. I'm talking about government attorneys on behalf of the Environment Ministry. There are, of course, lawyers from NAS, Academy of Agriculture, Chengal Reddy Saab are a lawyer, and 5 RCGM secretaries have changed. And then 6 GAC secretaries have changed. Now what happens? There is no continuity of thought. You see the activists. There are 4 women. You know all of them. Shiva, Kavita, Aruna, and Suman. Suman is our own blood from our institute, Indian Agriculture Research Institute. Then in men, Devendra Sharma, as if he is the only expert. All the print media goes talking to Devendra Sharma only. Whether it's NDTV or Pindi TV, everybody talks to Devendra Sharma. Nobody else. Then there is one Mahajan, an economist. So these are 2 men and 4 women who are taking ride on all of us. And because the lawyer who is attorney for them is these what you call
Prashant Bhushan.
Prashant Bhushan. He is not changing. He is already a textbook. So whereas in our case, attorney after attorney changes. Just for because you've been all serious, I'll tell you how painful it is. One day one attorney was changed. I went to talk to him. Sir, tomorrow is the case. How do I deal with it? You come to my house. Me and Dr. Prabhu at that time, I dragged him from his house and we went there. I needed a company, Then he was having a full drink. He offered us. I said, sir, we can't. So anyway, it was at 7:30 in the evening. He says, you tell me some points where I can postpone the event because I don't know anything about GM crops. Even then we briefed them. When we went to the court, it was BT Brinjal times. I was sitting just behind him as a privilege. He asked for the court to, sometime murmur to him. And the case was, the Prashant Bhushan said, so the biodiversity laws do cross-pollination can happen. And this guy doesn't know both words. He just looked at me, hey Rao, crossing over kya hota hai? So what can I say in 2 minutes or 1 minute to him? Then I said, it was long ago. It was Peter Paul, BP Paul, in an open meeting said, if one of them resembles, the child resembles the house, there is no crossing over. If it resembles the neighbor in terms of phenology, there is a crossing over. I said, sir, why the long brinjal is not becoming short brinjal is not becoming round brinjal? You are from Haryana. Field next to it is variety of brinjal has grown. Then he said, oh, okay, I got it. Sir, there can't be crossing over. The long brinjal cannot become short brinjal, although they are grown together in our fields. He went on. So what I am saying is, this is a very painful exercise. Every time the fellow changes, you go and do. I think Dr. Deepak Paintal understands me. He has gone through all of this process, including Vibha Ahuja, many of us. Now maybe Bansal is also helping some people like that. Now what I am saying is, we should have also somebody like this guy, Prashant Bhushan. We need a Prashant Bhushan now. And this cannot be done through government. When Chengal Reddy Saab from Farmers Association pleaded, or when Agriculture Academy pleaded, it actually calls only government attorney to speak first. Then after that they come. Although the NAS Academy lawyer argued last time, it was short because he is first not heard. Then they said, what is the government opinion? Now let me say, all of you said, because my experience is regulator never said no. to either brinjal or BT cotton or herbicide cotton or GM mustard. Regulator always said yes. He communicated, entire risk assessment document was kept open. It was, books were opened, hundreds of people visited, consensus was taken, and that is also ignored by the court in case of mustard. Brinjal also the same story. Now in case of brinjal, in case of BT cotton, there was a political will. I know Dr. Manju Sharma and we went to the Dr. Vajpayee, which people don't know. There was a little meeting there. Then it was done with Balu, who was minister. Then when it came to Jairam Ramesh, there was no political will. He is an example where he took all on the streets. And as Dr. Deepak Pendal says, what people will say? They will say nothing. Public convincing is no. Small sectors of convincing is fine. Now political will was not there in Brinjal, so we were stuck up by the court again. When the GM mustard came, I think Dr. Deepak Pendal will agree with me that they asked, what is the government opinion? What does government say finally? So the government saying itself delayed. Finally, it was taken up. Then COVID came. Then again the GAC revived and they said, okay, you can go to the field. So it was always regulator has been positive. Now among these stakeholders, now you see that the regulator is positive. In case of GM mustard, again, Modi government is positive. Tushar Mehta's statement, if you see in the court, it really spells about government's view. He is the current attorney. In fact, he himself, I'll tell you, 3 years ago, when we, in 2018, when we approached him as an attorney, he told that my wife is arguing Monsanto case. I can't take up this case for conflict of interest. Thank God now he has taken up and he is arguing on behalf of the government in a very positive sense. Now that's not enough. We have to field some more lawyers, either from the farmers unions or from the National Academy. I think Bansal Saab can talk to their president and others. Bring back some young fellow who can be a driving force. You can sit and educate him. What is all that? Or somebody who knows a little bit. Because we need a support from lawyers now. This is an urgent need. All this, then as far as communication is concerned, I agree with Sundaram that we recently, I am guiding some student from IIT about public perception of technologies. What we found as GM technology, different technologies. In GM technology, peculiar information is that 70% of Indians are doing social media. Now, for all the information, and if you go to GM alone in subsect, we found that social media is not playing much role. Either this tweet or anything like that. You just go and see, there is nothing like that. Only, not even Facebook, internet information. See, blogs, people putting in all this, Kavita Kurganti is putting all sorts of things. Their internet information, as I agree with Dr. Arjula Reddy, we should have an internet platform to bombard this issue to either lawyers, judges, whoever it is. Internet platform is more important, more effective by 50% of the survey of 1,300 people we did. 50% said they depend on GM and the other 40% said they mostly depend on print media. Whether it's an article, whether it's a newspaper. So these are the two important sources we have to communicate. Now, lastly, there is an urgent need for all scientific communities. I think I agree with Chengal Reddy. If we can take a leadership, we can all sign as far as a memorandum and then submit to the Supreme Court judge. I think either Nagaratnama or any of the judges, in the past 15 judges I have seen, none of them know any science. They formed a technical committee. Their our own scientists differed. The problem with our scientific community, even 100 Nobel Prize winners said yes. There are 7,000 documents. Dr. Bansal said 4,000. That's the older data, but it's now 7,000. Those years are available in the world. Everything is very, very clearly available on the net. But still, in India, our Indian scientists are differing in their opinion. Even within ICR, the communities, there are many, many variations within ICR. If the ICR himself pleads for, instead of Environment Ministry, if the ICR can book a lawyer from their side also, join at least Environment Ministry, DBT is also lulled down. So DBT, ICR, and the National Academy of Agriculture, they all have to join. Besides, a written memorandum from all of us as early as possible. Maybe thousands of them we can create. So that is the only action now, because all other things will follow. I agree with completely with Chengal Reddy Saab that if GM mustard doesn't come, forget about everything. Even genome editing also, I started the war and it was finished by some people. But what I am saying is that is still not over. They will slowly go on to that. Today they are keeping quiet. But if one report of genome editing from anywhere in the world being reported wrongly, then you see the music. They will go for the court very easily. Prashant Bhushan and their lawyers, 50 of them, they create affidavit in no time. But they all data with them. Biodiversity, loss of this, loss of that, and everything. So please ensure that we support with these three, because I don't have an institutional organization. We have to have an institutional movement, maybe university association or the all these associations which I said. We have to put a parallel lawyer like Prashant Bhushan to argue. It could be even Kapil Sibal also, because he was quite supportive when we were dealing with this issue. But who will, without, I don't know how much money he will take. That's a different issue. And so the approach should be, there is an urgent action and there is a follow-up action. I vote for urgent action, and I don't know how I will do it. How we'll do it. I'm not having any organization. Otherwise, I would have done one something like that. But at least we can make one small. You don't not write to 100 pages. Make some one page crisp. I think somebody can draft, maybe Arjula Reddy sir or Anand Kumar, anybody. There are many drafts available. So then we can circulate to all those. Particularly FEBA is one to start with. FEBA people can sign. People from other societies can follow. I think that is the only approach. Now, otherwise, mustard is gone. Forget about GM crops. I'm telling you, that is my 2 decades of experience. Bansal साहब कुछ करिए. आप ही तो जनरल सेक्रेटरी हैं. You have been active.
We are doing, and we brought Tushar Mehta on board, by the way.
Anyway, it's not one lawyer is not enough. Tushar Mehta is also not very good in that way. He is only now telling government view, but he is not a technically, Prashant Bhushan is expert for 20 years, like you and me. How do you combat with him? He did not to educate at all. He will come without any. He also used to, when he used to see the quote in me, he said, "Acha, aa gaya? Kuch nahi hoga yaar tere liye." He used to say like that. So that is a level of competence he has. So I think we are in a very big problem with that type of lawyer and his background. So I don't know myself what to do.
Yeah, we'll take care. Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Rao Garu. Is there Professor Rajam, please?
No.
Then Dr. Sivareddy, no?
No, I'm here, Rajam. Hello?
Rajam is there, huh?
Yeah,
sir.
I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Oh, Rajam.
Hi. Hey. Firstly, I would like to thank Faber and organizers Professor Arjula Reddy and Professor Redena for giving me this opportunity to share some of my views about biotech crops. And of course, my previous distinguished speakers, they have already covered most of the important information pertaining to biotech crops, and I have not much to add, but I will try to say a few things about biosafety of GM crop. Beyond doubt, we all know biotech crops have proven to be quite beneficial for crop improvement. The main issue with the GM crops is the public and others' concern about their biosafety. Although the creation of public awareness about the benefits of biotech crops by various means is utmost important, I would like to add few points which may be important to overcome the concerns about GM crops. There are some classical approaches to overcome this problem, like transplastomic plants, where the transgene remains with the chloroplast, and there is no question of transgene escape. Then use of only plant sequences for raising transgenic plants or GM plants. Then marker-free GM crops, because most people, they have concern about presence of the marker genes like NPT or HPT. So these are classical transgenic approaches to overcome the concerns about GM crops. But there are some new and emerging technologies. I would like to touch upon these. Firstly, RNA interference based on small interfering RNAs and artificial microRNAs. These are very powerful tools for target gene silencing for the control of pests and pathogens. And there are some very good advantages about these technologies. For example, the genetically modified crops, they do not have any transgenic protein. Unlike other classical transgenic plants like BT and other transgenic, they do have transgenic protein. So therefore, in the absence of transgenic protein in RNA plants, both the sRNA based or artificial microRNA based, so there is very unlikely that the target pathogen or pest would gain resistance. So this is one of the most important advantage. Probably people can accept because they do not contain any transgenic protein. And there are a couple of other new emerging technologies. First one is spray-induced gene silencing, popularly known as SIX, and gene editing, of course. So these are two approaches may also be important to solve the concerns of public and other organizations, although there are no scientifically proven negative effects of GM crops on human health or animal health and environment. The spray-induced gene silencing, as you know, this has gained a momentum in the recent past for the control of various diseases and pests. And basically, here we use double-stranded RNA, either alone, mostly encapsulated with nanoparticles, as a spray or as a biopesticide for the control of crop protection against disease and pests. And this is, in my opinion, this is a wonderful experience because it is a non-transgenic approach, environmental friendly, and very effective. It is already proven that this approach, spray-induced gene silencing approach, has already proven to be very effective for the control of viral infections, bacteria, nematodes, pests, and fungal pathogens. And here, the another important advantage is we can target multiple genes for the control of not single disease, more than one disease or even disease and combination of disease and pests. Then, of course, gene editing, there was some discussion about gene editing. It is no doubt it is an already emerged technology, and particularly the SDN1 event, which is more efficient as compared to SDN2. These are considered as non-transgenics even by Government of India, and there are no regulatory issues with SDN1 gene-edited plants. So because they do not contain any foreign DNA sequence. So there are very stringent guidelines to deal with the gene-edited plants. So this is another one. Of course, there are certain limitations, especially off-targeted effects of gene-edited plants, but those can be tackled. So I've given these are few examples of. There are few examples of gene-edited plants which are already in the pipeline. I think there are few examples where gene-edited plants have already been commercialized. So these are some of my views about the concerns about biosafety of GM plant. Probably if we can deploy some of these new emerging technologies, probably we can overcome the biosafety issues of GM crop. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Professor Raja. So,
Thank you.
Professor Arjula Reddy, sir, are there anyone whom you wish to?
Yeah, probably.
Outside the panel.
Yeah, Dr. Ramanaya, Venkat Ramanaya, DV.
Dr. TV Ramanaya.
TV Ramanaya.
Are you there, Dr. Ramanaya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your long experience in
yeah,
DV.
I am here. Thank you for calling me, including me in this panel. And when Professor Arjul Reddy sir asked me to join, then I took some time. My senior colleague Shekhar also asked me to join. I said, okay, for me, it's three personal reasons I can join. One thing is, I can see all of the people, most of around 90% of you people, I met you in when I was there in DVT. My journey from 1990 to 2006 in various issues and doing the things. And second thing is, I can hear you. What? Am I not audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Yes.
Second personal interest is that I can listen to all of you and what is the latest trends. And I am not prepared to give any solutions to the problems which you all raised. Professor Reddy, Arjun Reddy sir raised the statistics. Everybody knows statistics. Everyone knows most of the information which we all talked about. And we are all there in this nearly 2 decades. We are all there in the issues. Of course, I am not there. I am now independent, a resigned person from the DBT and living on my own. But one thing I just wanted to take you through my journey with the BT Cotton Association from 1995 onwards. From there, I think you people can draw some of the conclusions and the action points. First thing is DBT and ICR together wanted to take the BT cotton technology, purchase the technology from the Monsanto, and they formed a DBT car. And our joint secretary, finance, was heading the one. And we almost concluded the deal, the Monsanto. And we had gone to the head of the ICR that time. We all know him very well. And he put a questions to our, leading person. I am having a doubt about the BT cotton, whether it is suitable to India or not. Let us wait for some more years. Well, Monsanto can do some, give more data on that one. Let us see. Well, that is a one area, that is a one time, had the ICR has agreed, the BT cotton technology would have been in the hands of the government of India. We lost it. The second point, when the BT cotton approval almost there on the table of the GAC in 2001, and again ICR, I'm sorry I'm saying this because personally I gone through all this rigorous tensions and all those things. It was a very painful journey of the BT cotton getting from these tangles. In 2001 in GAC meeting, ICR and with the unanimous voting of their voice, they said, let us do one more year of large-scale field trials. So instead of 2001, it became 2002. Then in 1999, Vandana Shiva filed a Supreme Court case to ban the BT cotton trials. At the time, my advisor, Dr. P.K. Ghosh, was there, and I was assisting. I am a senior scientist doing the work. And we thought, why should we, government, get into this Supreme Court cases, Supreme Court issues, and all those things? Why should we waste our time? Let the things do on its own. Why should we take extra pains and all those things? But only with the interest of the technology, that this technology is going to help Indian cotton farmers. We thought, with the help of the technology purchaser, let us fight. Let us fight. Had the government, DBT said that, okay, no, let us go to the case, may go to the docks, what that we are going to get it. Then BT cotton issues should have been there at the end of it. And the Professor Paintel said it took for 2 years, the case in the Supreme Court about the mustard. But we fought from 1999 to 2004 for the BT cotton approval in the Supreme Court, in the appellate authority, in different forums, and going me alone, along with the find out the lawyers, briefing them, and doing hundreds of pages counter affidavits. And one question I just wanted to ask, this SRO might have been done it. did any of you, except your personal interests, personal cases, did you file any affidavit in the courts, civil or criminal, except for Chengal Reddy Garu? But I filed by the name of Dr. T.V. Ramana, T. Venkatramana, son of T. Kanakaya, residing in this place, this place, this place. I know the things and all those things. Supreme Court affidavit, 100 pages. Why should a government officer do it? What gets it? And till the night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, sit in the department typing and retyping, and the lawyers seeing, private lawyers are seeing and correcting it and all those things. It's a really a tough job to do it, unless until you have something interest in the technology. That happened. And some of our well-known agricultural Everest peak like people, some of the forums, they said they don't believe in BTech on technology. And some of them, they appreciated the Suman Sahai like people that she is doing a very good job because she filed a High Court case on the BT cotton. And some people requested the stalwarts to say a few words about the benefit of the technology because it's already a decade is over. But they never opened their mouth. On the day of BT cotton technology approval in 2002, one of our another stalwart filed a Supreme Court case, banned the BT cotton commercialization. Nobody opposed him. Still they praise him. He's a very good, excellent, the topmost scientist in the world. He just misses the Nobel Prize. No, that is the issues which are having inherently with your scientific community. I'm not a scientist. I removed my that title. It is inherent with your scientific community. Scientific community was not uniformly said single thing correctly. If two scientists says yes, and third one will say no. There was no unified voice in the scientific community. And there are no stalwarts in the scientific community to change the mass opinion, mass farmers' opinion. Who are there? They never did it. Now they are not there. Who can tell the masses? Farming community saying that they will this position which I am there and you all know, and this is where you have to do it. I'm sorry to say, you don't have anybody like that. You don't have anybody like that. And another thing is, how we just generally people live on the perceptions of somebody else, somebody's perceptions. That is, if somebody says you are good, we think we are good. If somebody says that person's work is bad, then that person's work is bad. So these kind of people's perceptions who are creating, those creators are never created a positive perception in the public or the scientific community about the GM technology. At the neck of the moment, at the need of the hour, they just kept mum.
Huh?
Then another thing. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And scientific community is overwhelmed with the praising the undue respect to the seniors. That's where another issue. And mostly, how many scientists were trained for the media briefings? Did you have a kind of structural training? How to brief the media? How to talk the media? How to face their questions? None. None of the institutions did. None of the institutions did. And another thing is, the dichotomy of here is, sir, I'm concluding. Agriculture universities who have the grassroots level of going to the farmers are the least people who develop the GM technology. And other institutions, scientific institutions who develop the GM technology, and there is a difference of opinions between these two people. And third, lastly, sir, the social media, as Sarah said, internet or WhatsApp, everything is flooded by anti-GM messages, and the people are using left and right. And we at scientific community or the pro-GM people are no voice and no public perception about that one. And the thing is, first thing is, you please train lawyers and scientists who have the caliber and who have the name and fame to openly come and talk to the media and public and write the papers and hire a very good advocate, a senior advocate or anyone to file a uh, counter affidavit or the impleading method in the Supreme Court to know what is the things is happening. But the impleading also, what is the problem is, because the court case is between respondents and the petitioner. From the respondent is the first person to answer is the government advocate general. If the government advocate general is not able to answer properly, next anybody wants and pleads it, the court doesn't listen. So please take care of this issue, because I suffered a lot on this issue, and practically we took the case from the Supreme Court to the appellate authority that was there in the Nehru Stadium that time. And in the appellate authority, we have the provisions for the projections and scientific discussions with the judge. And that judge convinced the science being the BT Cotton, and that person has gave the positive note judgment. With the judgment in 2004, Supreme Court dismissed the case of Vandana Shiva, and Vandana Shiva made another 1,000 papers of the pages of the petition. That's called a special leave petition, SLP, and still it is lying in the court. I mean, on BT Cotton, there were 8 cases in different courts. 2 are there in Supreme Court, and 4 are there in the AP High Court. 2 are there in the Delhi High Court. All this burden was there on the government. Why should the government officers should take it? Pushpa Bhargava made a Supreme Court petition to ban the BT Cotton. And how if the scientific community is divided, what is the message you are going to give it to the people? Please address that issue. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramaya. Any others? Hello. Professor Arjula Reddy? Mamata?
Yes, sir.
Any others? Or
Yes, we can call Professor Deepak Pental again for his views. Is he there?
If he's around.
He is there.
Okay.
I think we should try to take some action points and note them down now and try to to prepare kind of a write up and note and really
that's what we are planning.
Yeah, may I request the professor from Lahore to give his views, and also Dr. Naran Reddy to give some suggestions.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, first of all, I'm really grateful to Team FABA for letting me in. It was really interesting to listen all the debates. And basically, I'm from Center of Excellence in Molecular Biology from University of Punjab, and this institute was built in '84 when the biotechnology was just a sort of kid. So the government they gave us a lot of money and the start until 2000s, but since 2000 there are a lot of restrictions, and now what they're trying to do, they're asking us to translate all of our biotech products into some commercially viable products. So by the way, so this center has already developed transgenic cotton, and we released 8 varieties, and those transgenic varieties are already in the field, and they're covering 80% area of the country. So we are really good at these all transgenes and genome editing, but where we stand together at the regulatory processes. So we have the same regulatory bottlenecks. What I have been, listening since 1.5 hours, exactly we are having to all of exactly everything is the same. For example, as far as cotton is concerned, everything is okay, but the other things that we are facing is all political will. So I believe, and we the scientists, for example, now in this country, there are 53 biotech institutes. And many biotech institutes like Center of Excellence, our institute, CEMB, and the other one in Faisalabad, National Institute of Biotechnology and Genetic Engineering, and many others. Also, they have developed their products, but only cotton has been allowed for the commercialization in the country, just like India. But the thing is, recently they gave us permission for the field trials of corn and sugarcane. And interestingly, for corn, everything was okay. The field trials were completed. Data was really good. But at the last point, the National Biosafety Committee, they took this transgenic corn off their agenda. What happened? Nobody could figure out. And still, this is, it's a myth what went wrong. And same has happened with the sugarcane. Recently, they allowed us to have a contained field trial with the insect and herbicide resistant sugarcane. Everything was completed, but for the final release, National Biosafety Commission did not allow for its, the commercializations. So this is, I mean, in short, when I was, analyzing the problems, we are almost at the same place. But on the lighter note, trust me, if being neighbor, if India will do something really good in any crop, trust me, it will be really helpful to us. So because if India approves a crop for the commercializations, there will be an automatic pressure on our regulatory bodies. So I'm looking really forward to your very useful discussion. And I really appreciate all the efforts by the team FABA by bringing all the mentors today. I already know many of you, and your contributions are remarkable. I wish the biotechnology succeeds in both countries. And I just mentioned that the problems are almost the same on both sides. So I'm really thankful to FABA for giving me this here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alamaksha. This whole activity started with the initiative taken by Dr. N.R.K. Reddy, Chairman Jagriti Group, and we're all assembling here and hearing with so many voices is because of his initiative. Let me ask him to give his opinion too. Dr. N.R.K. Reddy, N.R.N. Reddy. Sorry.
Sir, good evening to all of you.
Yes.
I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm a doctorate in agronomy from IRI, Pusa Institute, Delhi, 86 to 91. I worked in Indian Revenue Service for 15 years till 2006. I resigned from the government service as I was not comfortable with what I have been, what I am through. Basically, I'm a son of a farmer. I know what the difficulties farmers go through. And I'm here. I took this initiative precisely, basically to, after listening to the story of Changaleddy Garu, I look at him now as a fatherly figure for the whole of Indian agriculture, because he has spent 30 years of his struggle only for the sake of farmers. On the other side, I look at you as all of you basically scientists with a biotechnology background. I'm in the middle. because I come from farmers background. I'm doctorate in agriculture, agronomy. Basically, it's like a general medicine agriculture. And I have seen what the emotional or the actual outbursts or the connect what Mr. Changaledi had shown about the farmers. But when I look at all of your discussions, all whatever has happening, I look at you as like one side of the activity, like one side of the coin, like biotechnologists trying to promote biotech crops. In fact, when I discuss with my friends and even my family members, they have shown the videos of golden rice being thrown out like Philippines, what has happened. And if golden rice is introduced in Bangladesh, I am trying my best to, I understand this, the Indian agriculture situation cannot improve without bringing biotech crops, biotech technology into the agriculture. I am convinced, but how do I proceed? How do I address these people? Like one of our speaker was mentioning, don't address all those things. You take it in a positive way. I am willing to take the responsibility or lead from the front, whether political or bureaucratic or otherwise, provided I have the support from the whole spectrum, like scientists as well as the farmers, which I can, I think because of my bureaucratic background, I have the connect everywhere in all the services, and I can reach out to anybody. I can understand what biotechnology speaks, what the farmers' needs are, but it has to be a coordinated and concerted effort. Like Mr. Changaledi Garu was mentioning, the elderly person, no time left. November 1st week, I think it is posted in Supreme Court for a third judge to be appointed, and bench will be constituted. Whatever he decides, that's going to be final. I was really, heartbroken when the kind of effort Dr. Deepak Pental has put in his efforts, like a senior person, a retired person, sitting in the Supreme Court answering all whatever the advocates or whatever questions that come. It's really very appalling. I'm very saddened by the state of affairs in the country. I'm willing to, drive the whole thing. But I look at more. All my friends or colleagues, whoever, spoken, probably retired and probably trying to convince the general this thing. But then at the end of the day, the time has to be spent, the money has to be spent, the energy or networking or how to take it forward, which I am willing to do it. If all of you agree, I'm sure I will ignite the ideas or this thing of about the consortium of Indian farmers associations, which Mr. Changaledi has passionately nurtured. I am willing to take the responsibility. I'm here to actually to support whatever he is very clear on. See, whatever the discussions that have gone through, it is only about biotechnology and implementation of, crop product, increasing the crop productivity, and then taking it to farmers. Yes, it is appreciated. Then what next? How do you communicate with the farmers? This for which probably biotechnologists per se themselves are not prepared. Somebody has to work towards it, for which Changaledi Saab has taken the initiative and lead. I am willing to wholeheartedly work towards it, being agronomist, being a son of a farmer. And I'm glad that I have listened to all of the views of everybody. Recently, in fact, I would like to, Mr. R.M. Sudaram, I would like to tell, and Satyendra also, about the golden rice. My family members were showing some of the YouTube videos of what happened in Philippines. The farmers, they were so agitated, they have destroyed the crop, whatever was already there. So these are the things which need to be addressed. Okay, maybe you need not explain in every detail to everybody, but these are the broad things that are coming to the light. which we all need to take cognizance of it and work towards it. I am happy to be associated with such august forum. I'm very happy, and I will definitely contribute my bit towards betterment of. In fact, for me, our population is growing. I think now we are number one in the world, more than China. How do we feed our population unless we increase our productivity? See, for a biotechnologist, for whoever is involved with a particular crop, he is concerned about that particular crop. But I am looking at a broader perspective where we all work. We all can work together. I'll be happy to be in the forefront. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Naran Reddy garu.
Sir.
I think it's time. Shall we conclude?
Shall we keep a session open for these participants also, sir? We can take a few questions from them and then we
Yeah.
can conclude.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 minutes for.
5 minutes, yes.
Yeah.
Any questions from?
I want to ask something, Deepak Pental.
Yeah.
I think we need to think about what we can do in the court, because that is our immediate problem. This communicating with scientists and farmers there are people like Mr. Changal Reddy who are so communicative with the farmers. How can scientists beat him on that? So that's a different front. Right now, how do we remind the court that their duty is towards scientific temper, not towards environmental activism, where they don't know what the people are actually saying, just because it is it makes you feel good that nothing in the food is being touched. It is just as the gods gave it to us, which is a fallacy of the top order. So how do we remind the Supreme Court judges that your 3-judge bench has a very important role to play? How can that be done? That's the big question.
Yeah, Changal Reddy garu, can you answer?
Yeah, my suggestion is 2-3 issues which I thought probably if the scientific community together, all of you join, maybe 100, 200 of you, then file a PA impleading petition in the Supreme Court. In my view, it will have enormous effect because, like Professor Arjun Reddy, I mean, all of you, you have such a immense background. All of you have worked 30, 40 years. You are scientists. I mean, there is nothing like anybody questioning a scientist. I mean, very pathetic. Anyway, this is my suggestion, first suggestion, sir. That is, if all of you can pull up, I'm all that I can tell you is, when 50 of you, can you contribute about 2,000-3,000 rupees? It's not because of money. It is because of, you can show that, yes, we are all committed. We scientists are here to support this genetic technology and Dr. Deepak Pental's great sacrifice and service. And then tell the courts that. That's one aspect. The second is political. Probably all of you can together, send a representation to the Prime Minister seeking appointment that 100 of you want to go and see him. Want to see him. Nothing wrong. See, Prime Minister meets all industrialists, everybody, then talks to them and all sorts of things. Why is that agriculture scientists or genetic scientists, all of you go and demand? And then lastly, thirdly, I said, if generally, this is nothing very simple, simple thing, draft a letter, let us circulate in 1 month. Let us mobilize as many, maybe about 5-10 lakhs signatures and send it to keep it on some public. Social media, you can go on affixing your signatures and then it is public. We'll appeal to the Supreme Court judges. Tell them, these cotton farmers, where 70 lakhs of us are cultivating cotton for 24 years. And then some stupid fellow says that cotton is useless. What nonsense. And then here is a government which is allowing genetic food to be consumed by Indians, the genetic food produced by American and Brazilian farmers. This duplicity, let us expose. Beyond that, you see, I am terribly pained with one thing. See, when medical doctors and atomic energy doctors, scientists, and everybody in this country are honored and revered, how is that the agriculture community, my scientists, you are our gods. It is all of you who have given that, Dr. Norman Borlaug or whoever. I mean, all of you have helped us. Today, whatever we are in the farming community, it is because of you. You are our gods. I mean, but somehow, somewhere things have gone wrong. And people like, I'm really, really terribly pained. I have known Dr. Deepak Pental since 2007. I have seen him, but it really hurts me that a great man like him has been ignored by this nation. But that's all my suggestion, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, General Reddy. Any other question?
May I?
Yeah, sure.
You know, I actually thought of suggesting this to or taking further advice from Dr. Chengal Reddy. I remember the olden BT Cotton days. He would remember also that how much closely we were working with Mr. Sharad Joshi that time. But can we have a farmers body, you know, or group of them, as many as possible, you know, making a case and representation in Supreme Court, whatever the way it could be, rather than, you know, scientists, of course, the bodies, they are doing the job, I believe, but still we need a larger body of farmers coming up openly as they came, you know, for example, in case of, you know, farm laws or otherwise. But here I'm not saying any kind of agitation. I'm suggesting any kind of kind of a representation in the Supreme Court through lawyers or whatever the way it could be. And there are many, you know, such farmer organizations. You are probably leading one of them, and also from consumers. Can we think of anything from consumer side? You know, because we are talking of a good quality edible oil when we talk
Dr.
about.
Bansal, no consumer will come forward.
No, I'm talking about the consumer
People you
organization.
forget.
No, what I'm saying is, Professor
And
Deepak,
farmers' minds are these days more on how to get subsidies from the government and how to extract good MSP. Farmers want more quantity, but have we shown them anything working in the field that they get excited? You know, we are in a very strange situation.
You're right, but I think, Professor Pentel, we have to make all these efforts, and particularly why I'm saying consumers again, because they do not really know how much difference will it make, you know, to the quality of the oil which we're eating, and even the affordability of it, how much it will affect, really speaking, you know, when we have our own domestic oil production. So they have not been given this message at all, consumers' point of view.
I
So I
don't
think,
know.
yeah. So therefore, even farmers and consumers together, if we can sensitize them in a big way, kind of a mass movement, if possible, you know, I think there could be a difference made there. Yes, please.
Think of what we can do in the next 10 days.
Yeah, that's what Chengal Reddy was taking care. He said that as soon as possible, we may have to go for filing the PA, if I am right.
I think NRN Reddy is raising hands
Sir, whatever discussion that is happening here, I see is a FABA forum. FABA is an NGO. For Government of India, it doesn't make any difference. Probably your voice can be heard, that's it. But to take it to Supreme Court and then implead or influence, you have to involve the ICR, the IRI, which represent the agriculture research in the country. And from farmers' point of view, from consumers or the receiver's end, yes, SIFA can definitely bring about some kind of farmers' representations or influence to represent before the Supreme Court or even the government. But you have to take ICR and IRI into the fold because they are the brand of agriculture in this country.
But ICR is already in the fold.
But I have not seen any participant today, sir. I'm sure, yes, the ICR or, I mean, their briefing probably would matter for our councils or Minister of Environment, whoever is representing. But the active participation, like
we as scientists are never brought up to work together.
But probably people like us we are independent. Myself and Chengal Reddy, we are independent. We are neither scientists, neither bureaucrats or even the businessmen. We are in the middle for the cause of the people of this country, farmers of this country. So I am sure we can bring about the participation of farmers also. But at the same time, my advice, my request from all of you, whether I was told AK Singh or NK Singh from IRI and ICR were to participate in this. I am surprised to see that they were not here in the thing, but I am a alumni of IRI. I can connect. In fact, the ICR DJ, I think, if I am not wrong, is Himanshu Pathak, my batchmate from soil science. I am agronomist. Probably we can connect and we can make them a positive representation before Supreme Court and probably even to the government. See, basically, Changaleddy Garu was suggesting take an appointment with the Prime Minister or concerned people who matter and make a representation either through SIFA or FABA alone is my personal perception, because I'm sitting in the middle. I'm an outsider kind of thing for FABA. FABA is one organization. The people, the other side, may perceive that it is as a I mean, preconceived kind of thing. It should not be like that. We are taking everybody along. Yeah, Shankar, like planning to convey something?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Ramla, Venkatramaya.
Yeah, I just want to convey to this group is as per the judgment para number 2.1, Minister of Environment and Forest and is working on creating a body to formulate the biotechnology policy, including all the stakeholders. Whether in that group, if the scientists and the farmers can get in, then there is a chance of influencing
Dr. Ramnaya,
the
that may not happen because the policy is already there. I don't
And-
think
and-
any new policy is going to come through.
Sir, information which I got, I'm sharing.
That's a newspaper information misplaced.
No. It's not a newspaper.
Professor Deepak,
Information.
Professor Deepak,
Sir, let me complete. The para number 3 of the judgment, if you read carefully, another 3 judge bench need to be constituted to look at the.
It has already been constituted.
It's already there. The two
Yeah.
bench.
And that for that, if you have wanted to get into the system, you need to implead. That's the only thing. And that's what information I have. I just wanted to share with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Dr. Bansal.
I just wanted to actually respond to quickly to Mr. N.R.N. Reddy, who wanted to know about, the scientists are already doing their role through actually the whole government of India is already there involved in it. The nodal agency, Ministry of Environment and Forest and Ministry of Agriculture, including ICAR. They're all there, except, and we have been pleading this also for the last about 20 years. I've been involved. I'm from IRI. And also from the National Academy of Agricultural Sciences, we have been doing this all from a very, very long time. We saved it, actually speaking, I must tell you, through the representation made by National Academy of Agricultural Sciences. But somehow in this particular GM mustard case, we have some problem, of direct involvement of National Academy, though we are still there, actually speaking officially. But certainly, yes, more important than that, I thought at this moment, as Professor Deepak Pental reminds us, what can we do in next 10 days? Can we do in next 10 days something through some of those, affecting parties like farmers themselves? Because scientists, they are doing their job. They are, I think, making all that representation, whatever the way through our Attorney General. And all we can do more. Of course, there's no end to it. I'm suggesting National Science Academies, even all coming together. But then what I'm saying is true, sir, after listening to you only, I came up this excitement of, having a good forum through farmers and consumers all together with your leadership. Really speaking, that could, and we can collect money, even we can contribute, as Dr. Changaleddy says, we have done that during BT Cotton days. And if you would recall, through Mr. Sharad Joshi, I was there with him most of the times, fighting for BT Cotton that time. And I'm also now retired and available, and we're doing whatever best we can, but then I think we have to do something big in this coming, kind of 7 to 10 days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bansal. In fact, I have requested one of our colleague who is there in the, probably in our, this thing, Mr. Shekhar Batina, on behalf of SIFA, I have requested him to find a suitable advocate or senior advocate to implead on behalf of the farmers, or SIFA is already there in the picture. Beyond SIFA, probably some organization if not FABA or something else, we will definitely try to implement immediately with the Supreme Court. Probably, I think first week it is coming up for hearing.
7th November. 7th
7th
November.
November. Probably, if we implement, probably we may gain some time. Otherwise, also we should be prepared. Shekhar will take responsibility. Shekhar, you are hearing? Mr. Shekhar? Shekhar Batina, he is also here. He is also plant biotech person from Central University. Professor Redden and A.R. Reddy knows them. And I have given responsibility and mandate to him actually to work on the behalf of the farmers, which we will definitely work out in next 7 to 10 days time. Changaleddy Saab is on day-to-day basis. He is following up with us actually.
Thank you.
And sir, if you're deciding, sorry to intervene again a little bit quickly. Sorry, if you want to decide some names of the advocates, so we have done that exercise before about 2 years ago. Okay. And we have some of the best names shortlisted. So we can try to, though they'll be expensive. So
Sure.
We can talk
Instead
about
instead of we fishing out in the area, if we have already have something in hand and who are well informed about it, we will definitely will go with that, and all of us can contribute towards that. Thank you very much.
Sure, we'll discuss that point.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Redana was.
Yeah, I think no, the very important points have come up in this webinar, and actionable points, for repleading in the Supreme Court. So we do have representation from different organizations, and why not immediately form a group, mainly action group for this cause? Maybe we can name this as a separate entity or society or whatever that. All of us sign on this resolution and then implement in the court, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
With all the signatures. And this body will now take up sustained efforts until we succeed.
Yes.
I think very important points have come up. Quickly, let us take a resolution that all the members who have joined here will be forming into a group. Maybe the name, we can identify the name, and with that, we can come up with the resolution also, and then implement in the court.
The name I suggest quickly, GM Pro India.
GM?
Pro India.
Pro India. They're talking of GM Free India sometimes.
Okay, GM Pro India. That's good.
It's a biased
kind of thing instead of technology in India.
No.
Something.
GM for farmers' welfare or whatever. Anything positive we can have.
Don't say GM or Biotech, sir. Because the other side will immediately target. They will try to the word of GM.
So let us come up with.
We'll come out, sir. We'll circulate.
Yeah.
Mamta will coordinate and take approval from everybody, and one or two from FABA or biotechnology field, one or two farmers, 2 or 3 agriculture scientists. We'll all form into one foundation or group. We will try to represent.
So already from FABA side, Dr. Rajam is there, Dr. Raman Sundaram is there, Dr. Narayanan is there. So
I look at everybody, all of you as one this thing, sir. Whether one representation or 2 representation doesn't matter. FABA is there with us.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you,
Any
sir.
other suggestions?
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but I couldn't see here. I'm just all right. What I see is here. Everybody agreed that some quick action is needed as far as a Supreme Court case is concerned. First priority, a group has to be formed, and that group can be named accordingly. And a core group has to be formed to support the approach to the judges or Supreme Court or legal issues. And I think it's time that we propose a foundation for agricultural biotech or agriculture biotechnology promotion, a foundation for agriculture biotechnology support, or something like that. We have to form a foundation. That foundation can unify all these people, and foundations are normally protected by and we can generate opinion through their foundation. Founding a group is different. Going for a foundation is different. So appropriately, we'll name that foundation, and we'll have some life members to begin with quickly. Foundation making is nothing; it's a 1 week job, registering that foundation, and then we will gather all stakeholders into that foundation, and then move. That may take some time, but these two things can be done in parallel. Because we know what conspires with when we deal with legal aspects and parliamentarians, and because I have to face two standing committee, parliament's standing committee. You could imagine the torture, the kind of torture that I had to go through. So we know all that stuff. So what we can say is, yes, we'll form a group. Two, we'll have a charter, and we'll have a foundation too. That is my opinion.
Sure,
sir.
Written.
Yeah,
Shall we
Bansal,
conclude?
May I suggest, actually, instead of a foundation, I would suggest federation.
Okay.
Federation of and including all such bodies who are really in favor of biotech or science-driven agriculture for farmers. We bring them all together on board. It becomes a bigger strength. And that federation, and out of today's discussion, can we have a core group? We don't need many people. A core group, who really understand the whole issue and can take it forward, and who has the drive to take it forward.
So it is federation of societies or federation of
federation of
what?
We can call it whatever way we can call it, but like, for example, FABA or any other those private organizations, even farmers bodies, they all can come together under that federation. So we have to think about what mechanism, and I think that will be kind of even 20, 30, 40 bodies together. They all can come and being a part of it.
That's in principle. You need an umbrella organization.
Yeah, so that's what is federation. Yeah,
which is a respectable, and at the same time can accommodate all kinds of interest groups. I mean, within the framework of crop biotechnology or agri-biotechnology. Okay. So
genomic technologies, you can say.
The task is very.
It could be frontier technologies, not really exactly.
Frontier technologies.
Anything for farmers' welfare. We can have different domains, different verticals to work on.
All technologies, including new genomic technologies.
Frontier technologies, modern technologies.
FABA is already there.
FABA is only biotechnology organization, sir.
Okay.
And we are addressing larger issue of Indian agriculture.
FABA,
when you say FABA,
that will take a bigger federation. I agree with that.
Yes, when you say FABA, the farmers, the stakeholders, other than biotechnologists,
Sure.
that it is a biased organization.
Sure.
Okay.
Exactly, sir. Yeah.
I think federation of associations.
Sir, that name will come out, sir. In fact, myself and Sangaleddi Garu, we are deliberating on that. How do we bring about farmers association from each of the states?
Exactly.
Into one fold. Probably we will come out with that in a couple of days' time. We'll go ahead with the registration. Already SIFA is there. Consortium of Indian
SIFA also could be a partner in this.
SIFA can be a partner.
Unfortunately, SIFA is already has implemented in the Supreme Court, and not all the members are active in that. So, in fact, Changaleddi sir is after me actually to consolidate the whole all of the associations, which we are trying. My colleagues, Mr. Praveen is here in the in fact in the panel also. He is himself and Shekhar, they're working towards that. We'll come out in a couple of days time, or maximum 2-3 days time. We'll come out with a name. There we'll have farmers. I am looking at even my erstwhile colleagues of IRI who are in different positions at different institutes. probably retired or serving to get them on board. And definitely FABA members, one or two, whomever FABA recommends, all of us will form one association, which will have a strong base. Like I am representing farmer, I am representing agricultural scientists, I am representing biotechnologists. That will give more credence and validity, wherever I represent, whether with the government or whether with the court or bureaucracy.
Good. Let us identify the core group.
Yeah, let's organize that way, sir.
Yeah, let us have.
And we have representation from all states. That's a very good idea, sir. We must have that. It's very important.
It's very important, sir.
Let us have the core group
yes.
to initiate with the
Yes.
headquarters in Hyderabad.
We'll do that, sir.
Members, all those who participated today will be the members of this federation. And the core group with Professor A.R. Reddy, NRN, and Professor Attipalli, then maybe those who could take up, Shekhar is there.
Yes. And I would like to honor Mr. Changaleddy doctorate, sir. Once we achieve our goals.
Yeah.
He has worked 30 years of his valid
so we
life through
represent two different societies, but we will be partnering with the Federation of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. I think the
Redana, I think the core group we'll discuss later. That includes not only the people that you mentioned, but those actually who had experience of dealing with the legal system, with the government.
No, SRO has been there.
And also those who could argue also in our favor. You need from loud mouths also.
Yes.
So the group should be balanced, and we will see all that. We'll discuss there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's time.
But in fact, SRO was sharing his experiences, which is very enlightening. Actually, we have to use those experiences.
So what we need to come up is the resolutions. I think Divya and Mamata might have noted down, and they will come up. And after the meeting, maybe the press note could be finalized.
Right.
Yes.
Based on the discussion. And
yeah.
With that, I think if there are no other points to be raised, I once again thank you all.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but first we'll ask Attipalli Reddy sir to summarize the meeting and
I think maybe
in fact, before that, I would like to just mention Attipalli Reddy and Redana Saab that we are ready to go to press, whatever resolutions, whatever this thing. Our press agency is waiting for our report or conclusions. Not tomorrow, day after it has to be published. That is the mandate we have given, and I request you all to whatever conclusions we make and codify, that will be published in 3 English languages, 3 English newspapers, and 3 vernacular languages here locally. Mr. Praveen is coordinating with that.
Okay, very good.
Thank you very much, sir.
Maybe Professor
So I request Professor Attipalli Reddy sir to please conclude and summarize the meeting.
Yeah, let me thank all the speakers who have come today and then gave their views. And most of us are positive. There was no negative comment, and it was very auspicious for us when we entered Jagrati office into NR Reddy's office. It was a coincidence that we may have to do something to start with when Changaleddy was there. Then immediately they said that it should be going as aggressive as possible. And I think it's going just like that. So all the speakers, they have given their views. But one or two important point is, one or two people are telling all the retired people can come together. But why not the people who are already in service working on biotech crops? And they should also be there as a part of this association so that it will be more effective. Because after all, agricultural biotechnology has given a lot of funding to the people to work. But what product they are asking, we have no idea till now except BT crop. So this is one important point, and accountability on the part of the government, where they have supported thousands of crores and without any product for the last 30 years except BT cotton. This is one important thing where we have noticed from all the speakers, and there were some bureaucratic problems as SR was telling and Ramanaya was telling. but I think we have to overcome all these things at least now. And the so-called India, which was supposed to be the biggest green revolution in the country, there was one news item on 16th on World Food Day. The 27 crores of Indian public are suffering with hunger. I don't know whether we are where we are growing 27 crores, and this is the largest in the world. That is one important point they mentioned. Unless we come out of this hunger and food production, and without biotech crops, we have no idea how we can come over this food productivity. That's one important point. And as I said, we may have to go ahead by taking the views from all the people who have given. And two or three important points are very important. First one is to create a forum, which is very important. And people are already talking about making it a federation, which is a very good idea. And then one important demand was to come out of this issue, release all 16 pending crops, which can be done. If that is there, I think that is the biggest boon we can get with this type of association or federation, what we are planning. And then there are some socio-economic data is there, but it's not out related to biotechnology. That is one important issue where we may have to put in the newspapers whether it is really good as far as the socio-economics is concerned. Then a very important decision what we have come up with, all the scientists along with the students and other faculty and other scientists should go for a signature campaign like thing, which is to be submitted, which will be more effective. That's what we may have to start as soon as possible. And farmers also should be included in this association, which is a very good demand from us and which should be made also. Because many people are telling there is a positive opinion from the farmers. There is no negative opinion from most of the farmers. So once we have that farmers' opinion, we can have that farmers' body also, which can be incorporated into our federation. That's one important issue. Then S.R. Rao has beautifully described the hiccups in the so-called release of these crops. And I don't know when that will be solved. At least now, if we are so aggressive with some good leadership, I think that can be taken care. And we should also have an urgent action and a follow-up action, which is being the opinion from Changal Reddy Garu. And also, one of the important decisions is unified voice among the scientific community is the one which is described by many people and which is also very important. And lastly, I think we have heard all these people and we should thank them for their time to be with us and giving their opinion, both working as well as retired scientists. And we're all thankful to all of them. And let us go forward as soon as possible. That's very important. Urgent and follow. These are the two things what Changaliddi was asking. We may have to follow it up. And finally, as I said, when we entered NRNDT's office, he is so proactive along with Changaliddi Garu. And I think we should thank him to take this initiative. Otherwise, we would not have been today here. And he is the one who said we have to go ahead as soon as possible before the Supreme Court case comes up. And we should also thank Mamata, Praveen, for coordinating this meeting. And with this, I think we may have to say good night to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good night, and we'll be working immediately. We'll be getting in touch with Dr. K.C. Bansal for giving his support or whatever the advocates or panel, whomever he is having in mind. We'll work.
Sure, Mr. Reddy.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure.
Right. Good night, all
Thank
of
you.
you. Thanks.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr. Reddy.
Thank you. Thank you.